doing here?
You're mine. Always have been. Always will be.
I'm done with you. That was the past.
Elena Rivers stumbled backward as the cold metal door slammed shut behind her, echoing through the empty warehouse. Her pulse raced, every nerve on fire. "You think you can hide from me?" a low, dangerous voice hissed in the shadows. She froze, her heart hammering against her ribcage. The rain outside pelted the cracked windows, and for a moment, the world was nothing but the pounding storm, her fear, and that voice. She recognized it instantly. Rico Valenti. The man she thought she had left behind. The man who had burned through her life like wildfire, leaving destruction and passion in his wake. And now, he had found her again. "Elena," he stepped into the dim light, his eyes glinting with a mixture of anger and desire. "You've run far, but some things never change." Her throat tightened. She wanted to scream, to fight, to run, but all she could do was stare. "Rico. I'm done with this," she stammered. "I'm not the same girl you knew." "You'll always be mine," he said, advancing a step closer, and the threat in his tone made her flinch. "You can pretend otherwise, but deep down, you know it's true." Her mind spun, memories flashing, late nights filled with stolen kisses in dark alleys, the adrenaline rush of danger, the reckless love that had nearly killed them both. And Dante. Her Dante. Her safe, kind, loving Dante, who had no idea about her past. She could almost feel him, somewhere out there, trusting her, unaware of the storm about to shatter their world. She shook her head, trying to push him back with words. "I'm with Dante now. He trusts me. You can't ruin that." Rico's smile was slow, deliberate, and chilling. "Oh, Elena. Trust is a fragile thing. And you've already forgotten the rules of our little world." Her heart dropped. Every instinct screamed at her to escape, but every part of her wanted to confront him, to stand her ground. "I'm not that girl anymore. I won't let you." "You won't let me what?" he interrupted, his tone sharp. "Control you. Destroy what you've built. Or maybe, just admit that part of you still craves me." Her knees nearly buckled. She hated that he could still get under her skin after all these years. "Stop it, Rico," she shouted, voice trembling. "Leave me alone. Just leave me alone." He laughed, low and dangerous. "I can't do that, Elena. You belong in my story. Whether you like it or not, our past isn't finished." Her mind raced. She needed a plan, an escape, but he was everywhere, his presence suffocating, almost tangible. "Why now?" she demanded, desperation creeping in. "Why come back after everything?" "Because I can," he said simply, his eyes burning into hers. "Because you made me wait. Because I know you'll remember everything I gave you. Everything you lost." Elena's chest tightened as emotions she thought were buried surged back, anger, fear, longing. "I don't care anymore," she whispered, though her voice faltered. "I'm done with you. I've moved on." He took another step closer, and she felt the heat radiating off him. "Have you really?" he asked softly, almost tenderly, and the moment made her stomach twist painfully. "Or are you just pretending for Dante's sake?" Her hands clenched into fists. "Yes, for Dante's sake," she said, voice cracking. "I won't go back. I love him. You're the past." Rico's expression softened slightly, almost like a wolf momentarily tamed, but the danger never left his eyes. "Love," he said, as if tasting the word, "is never that simple, Elena. You and I, we were fire. Dante, he's the safe choice, but safe doesn't burn, does it?" Her vision blurred as anger and sorrow collided. "I don't want fire. I want peace. I want normal. You." Her voice broke. "You're not normal. You're chaos." "And yet," he murmured, stepping even closer, "you can't ignore me. Admit it." She shook her head violently. "I refuse. I refuse to be pulled back into your world. He studied her, eyes narrowing, and for a heartbeat, she thought he would strike. Then, unexpectedly, he leaned closer, just enough that she could feel his breath. You can try to fight it, he said, almost a whisper, but fire has a way of finding fuel. Her chest heaved as she tried to steady herself. I have to go, she said, backing toward the door. Rico's hand shot out, gripping her wrist, his touch strong but controlled. Not yet, he said. Not until you understand. This isn't over. Not for you. Not for me. Not for Dante. She swallowed hard, trying to breathe, to think. His grip was iron, but there was something in the intensity of his gaze that made her heart betray her thoughts. Why are you doing this? She asked, voice barely audible. Because, Elena, he said, voice low and steady, I'm the only one who ever saw the real you. And the real you doesn't belong to Dante. Not completely. Her pulse raced, mind spinning. Part of her wanted to scream, part of her wanted to cry, and part of her still wanted him. She shook violently, pulling free. No. I won't let you manipulate me. I love Dante. Rico's eyes softened for a moment, and then hardened again, like a storm returning after a brief calm. Then fight, he said, releasing her. Fight for him, for yourself, but know this, every choice has a cost. Elena stumbled into the pouring rain outside, gasping, heart racing. Her hands shook as she pressed them to her face, trying to steady her emotions. She had survived him once. Could she survive him again? And deep in her mind, a whisper of fear, he's not done yet. He will come back. And next time, it could be too late. Elena stood under the streetlight, rain dripping from her hair onto the pavement, her chest rising and falling rapidly. She waited until the warehouse door behind her remained silent before she finally moved. Her legs felt weak as she flagged down a cab, sliding into the back seat with trembling hands. Where to? The driver asked. Home, she replied quickly. Please, just drive. As the car pulled away, her phone buzzed. Her breath caught when she saw Dante's name on the screen. Hey, she answered, forcing her voice to sound normal. Hey, love, Dante said warmly. You okay? You said you were stepping out for a bit. Yes, she lied, staring out the window as the city lights blurred. Just needed air. You sound tired, he said gently. I made dinner. Your favorite. Her throat tightened. I'll be there soon. Take your time, Dante replied. I'll be waiting. She ended the call and pressed her head back against the seat. Dante. Safe. Kind. Everything Rico was not. She reminded herself of that over and over as the cab sped through the night. When she arrived home, Dante was already at the door, concern etched across his face. Elena, he said, pulling her into his arms. You're soaked. What happened? Nothing, she said quickly, burying her face into his chest. I just got caught in the rain. He held her tighter. You don't have to pretend with me. You know that, right? Her chest ached. I know. They moved inside, and Dante wrapped her in a towel, his touch gentle, reassuring. Sit, he said softly. I'll get you something warm. As she sat on the couch, watching him move around the kitchen, guilt gnawed at her. He hummed quietly, completely unaware of the storm hovering just beyond their walls. They ate mostly in silence. Dante studied her face carefully. You've been distant lately, he said finally. Did I do something? No, she replied immediately. Of course not. Then tell me, he urged. I don't like seeing you like this. She swallowed hard. It's just, old memories. I thought I'd buried them. He reached across the table, taking her hand. Whatever it is, we'll face it together. Together. The word echoed painfully in her mind. The next morning, Elena woke to the sound of Dante on the phone. She lay still, listening. Yes, he said. I'll pick you up. Welcome home. Her heart skipped. When he ended the call, she sat up. Who was that? Dante smiled. My brother. Her blood ran cold. Your brother? Yes, he said casually. Rafael. He's been away for years. He's finally coming back. The name hit her like a punch to the chest. Rafael. Rico. Same voice. Same eyes. Same devil hiding behind a different name. She forced a smile. That's nice. Dante missed the tension in her posture. I want you to meet him. He's complicated, but he's family. Family. Her hands clenched into the sheets. Later that evening, the doorbell rang. Dante opened the door, his smile wide. Rafael. Elena stood frozen as Rico stepped inside, impeccably dressed, his eyes immediately locking onto hers. Well, Rico said smoothly, pretending surprise. If it isn't Elena. Dante laughed lightly. You two know each other. The silence stretched dangerously. Elena forced herself to breathe. We've met, she said quietly. Rico's smile deepened. That's one way to put it. Dante frowned slightly. Met how? Long ago, Rico replied before Elena could speak. Different lives. Dante shrugged, oblivious. Small world. Dinner was torture. Rico spoke easily, confidently, commanding the room without effort. Elena barely touched her food. So, Rico said casually, swirling his drink. How long have you two been together? Almost a year, Dante answered proudly. I'm proposing soon. Elena's heart skipped painfully. Rico's gaze flicked to her hand. Congratulations. She could hear the threat beneath the word. Later, as Dante stepped away to take a call, Rico leaned closer. You didn't tell him, he murmured. She glared at him. I will. When the time is right. When the time is right, he repeated softly. That's what you said last time too. Her jaw tightened. This ends now. Stay away from me. He smirked. You think you can command me in my own family's house? She stood abruptly. I need air. Rico followed her onto the balcony, the city stretching endlessly below them. You're shaking, he observed. Because you won't leave me alone, she snapped. You walked into my life again, he said calmly. Not the other way around. You followed me. I found you, he corrected. There's a difference. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You're going to ruin everything. Only if you keep lying, he replied. Tell him the truth. I will, she said, tears stinging her eyes. Just not like this. Rico studied her face, something unreadable flickering in his eyes. Be careful, Elena. Lies rot from the inside. Dante stepped back onto the balcony. Everything okay? Yes, Elena said quickly. Just needed fresh air. Rico smiled faintly. We were just reminiscing. That night, Elena lay awake beside Dante, staring at the ceiling. His arm wrapped around her, warm and trusting. You're safe, he murmured sleepily. I've got you. Her eyes burned with unshed tears. Across town, Rico stood by his window, phone in hand. He typed a single message before sending it. You can't outrun blood. If you're already feeling the tension build, stay with me, because the real betrayal is just beginning. And trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. The next morning, Elena woke to the sunlight streaming through the curtains, but sleep had not touched her. Her mind replayed Rico's words over and over, lies rot from the inside. She could still feel the weight of his gaze on the balcony, the way it had burned through her. She dressed quickly, forcing herself to focus. Today was supposed to be peaceful. Dante had planned a small weekend getaway to celebrate their upcoming anniversary, a chance to escape the city and its lingering shadows. She tried to imagine herself smiling, laughing, being normal, but every thought of Dante was shadowed by Rico's presence. Ready? Dante asked cheerfully in the kitchen. He held 2 steaming cups of coffee, his grin wide, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Elena forced a smile. Yes, let's go. As they drove, Dante chatted effortlessly, recounting his plans, his hopes. Elena nodded along, pretending to listen, her hands gripping the seat so tightly her knuckles turned white. She tried to shake off the memory of Rico leaning close on the balcony, whispering in her ear, his words a mixture of threat and seduction. You seem quiet, Dante finally observed, reaching over to touch her hand. Something's bothering you. No, nothing, she said quickly, pulling her hand away. I'm fine. Really? Dante frowned but didn't push. For now. They arrived at the cabin Dante had rented on the edge of a lake, surrounded by pine trees and the crisp smell of autumn. It should have felt idyllic. It didn't. Elena could feel the storm following her, a shadow she couldn't shake. That night, as they settled by the fire, Dante smiled and reached for her hand again. I'm so happy you're here with me. I love you, Elena. You have no idea how much. Her heart twisted. She loved him. She truly did. But she couldn't erase the past, or Rico, from her mind. A sudden knock at the door made them both jump. Dante frowned. Who could that be out here? Elena's stomach dropped. She glanced at the window. No one should be out here. It's late. Dante went to check, and Elena stayed back, tension coiling in her chest. A shadow slipped past the window. Before she could react, the door burst open. Hello, Elena, Rico said, stepping into the cabin as though he owned it. Wet rain dripped from his coat, but he moved with the same deadly calm that had haunted her dreams. Rico! Elena shrieked, spinning around to face him. What are you doing here? You invited me, he said smoothly, voice low and dangerous. You couldn't resist. I didn't, she shouted. Dante. Dante turned from the door, confusion and shock etched across his face. Rico? What are you? Family emergency, Rico interrupted casually, eyes never leaving Elena. He doesn't need the details. Elena felt her blood boil. You can't just. Watch me, Rico said simply. His gaze softened slightly as he looked at her. We need to talk. Alone. Dante's frown deepened. Alone? Elena, what? I'll be back in a second, she said firmly, gripping Dante's arm. Trust me. She followed Rico out to the deck, the cold wind biting at her skin. He didn't speak at first, letting the silence stretch. Finally, he stepped close. You can't keep pretending, he said, voice low, almost tender. I'm not pretending, she said, shaking her head. I've moved on. I'm with Dante. I love him. Rico's eyes narrowed. And yet, every time I appear, you panic. You can't escape me. Admit it. You still feel something. Her hands shook. I'm human. Of course I feel something. But I won't. I won't let you ruin this. I won't let you ruin him. Ah, he said softly, almost mockingly. There it is. Protecting him. That's why you'll never be free. You can't have both worlds. One day, you'll have to choose. And it won't be easy. Elena's chest tightened. I've chosen, she said, voice firm. I've chosen him. Dante. And you need to leave. Now. Rico studied her face, his lips curving into a slow, dangerous smile. You think love protects you. It doesn't. It only makes the betrayal hurt more. Elena stepped back, shaking. I'm warning you, Rico. One step closer, and I. You'll what? He interrupted, voice sharper. You'll what, Elena? Her hands trembled as she took a deep breath. I'll tell Dante everything, she said finally. I'll tell him about us. About the past. But I'll do it on my terms, not yours. Rico's expression flickered, unreadable. Bold, he said, and for a moment, she thought he might smile. I like that. Very well, for now. He turned and walked back toward the trees, leaving her shivering in the wind. Elena slammed the door behind him, sliding down against it, chest heaving. Dante stepped up beside her. "Are you okay?" I think so," she said, her voice breaking. "But he's dangerous. More dangerous than I ever remembered." Dante pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. "I don't care," he said firmly. "We'll face it together. Nothing can come between us." She wanted to believe him. She wanted to cling to that safety. But deep down, she knew, this storm wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The following day, Elena couldn't focus. Every time she looked at Dante, she saw Rico's shadow behind him. Every laugh felt hollow, every touch tinged with guilt and fear. She tried to push the memories away, but they clawed back relentlessly. That night, as Dante slept, she received a text from an unknown number, *, he's not done. Neither am I. *. Her stomach churned. She knew immediately who it was. Rico. Tears sprang to her eyes. She whispered into the dark, "Why won't you let me go?" And somewhere, far away, Rico smiled at his phone, fingers hovering over the next message. Elena woke to the sound of her phone buzzing violently across the nightstand. Her eyes shot open. The text was simple, "Meet me. Now. Alone." She felt bile rise in her throat. Rico. He never gave warnings. He gave ultimatums. Every instinct screamed at her to delete the message, to ignore it, to stay with Dante. But part of her, the reckless, terrified part, knew she had no choice. By the time she slipped out into the cold night, the cabin was silent. Dante was asleep, trusting, vulnerable, and she couldn't bring herself to wake him. Not yet. Not until she understood the storm that had come for them. Rico waited by the lake, the moonlight bouncing off the water and casting him in an almost ethereal glow. "You came," he said simply, voice calm but carrying an edge that made her knees weak. "I had to," she said, wrapping her coat tighter. "This, whatever this is, it has to end. I won't keep running." "You're brave," he said, stepping closer. "Or foolish. Sometimes, there isn't a difference." Her voice trembled. "You have to leave me alone. Leave Dante alone. This is my life now. You're the past." Rico laughed softly, and it was like ice in her veins. "Past, present, future, all of it is mine if you let it be. You can pretend, Elena, but fire doesn't disappear just because you build walls around it." She glared at him. "I've built walls. And I'm not letting you burn everything down. I love Dante. You don't understand." "I understand more than you think," he interrupted, voice low. "I know what it's like to love you. I know the parts of you no one else sees. And Dante. Dante is a nice man, yes. Safe. But he doesn't see you. He can't." Her breath caught. The words stung more than she expected. "You think this gives you a right to control me?" she spat. "You're dangerous. You're reckless. You almost destroyed me once." Rico's jaw tightened. "And yet, you survived. You're stronger than I thought. That's why I can't walk away. You're not just mine, Elena. You're fire, and fire can't be tamed." She took a step back, shaking her head. "No. I'm not yours. Not ever." He studied her for a long moment, and then, finally, he spoke softer, almost tenderly. "You're lying to yourself if you think you can live in his world without acknowledging mine. Secrets are dangerous. And lies, even more so." Her hands trembled as she wrapped her arms around herself. "I don't want secrets. I don't want lies. I just want peace." Rico's eyes glimmered in the moonlight. "Peace is a lie. Love is chaos. You know that, Elena. And if you want to survive this, you'll have to face me. Face the truth. Face what you truly feel." Her chest heaved. I can't. I can't do this tonight." He took a step closer, his voice dropping to a near whisper. You already did, the moment you didn't run. The moment you looked at me and didn't walk away. Face it, Elena. Face it before it consumes you. Tears pricked at her eyes. I can't, she whispered, turning away from him. Then run, he said softly, almost cruelly. Run to him. But know this, the past has a way of catching up. She ran back to the cabin, heart hammering, lungs burning. Dante stirred awake, alarm in his eyes. Elena? What happened? Are you okay? She fell into his arms, shaking violently. I don't know. It's nothing. Just a memory. A nightmare. Dante held her tightly. You don't have to face it alone, he whispered. You know that, right? Whatever it is, I'll face it with you. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to feel safe in that embrace. But deep down, she knew Rico wasn't a memory. He was a storm, and the calm she had built with Dante was fragile. The next morning, Elena tried to shake off the tension. They spent the day hiking through the forest surrounding the cabin, Dante chatting and laughing, pointing out birds and leaves. She smiled when he looked at her, her chest aching with guilt and love. But even as they walked, she couldn't forget the cold weight of Rico's presence the night before. Every shadow seemed longer, every sound more deliberate. Her mind kept returning to his words, secrets are dangerous. And lies, even more so. By evening, she had made her decision. She couldn't keep Dante in the dark any longer. She sat by the fire, staring at the flames, waiting for him to notice her mood. You've been quiet all day, Dante said, sitting beside her. Talk to me. Please. She took a deep breath, heart hammering in her chest. There's something I need to tell you, she said softly. Something about my past, about someone I should have told you about long ago. Dante's hand found hers instantly. Whatever it is, Elena. I'm listening. I won't judge. I just need the truth. Tears sprang to her eyes. It's Rico Valenti. My ex. He's dangerous, Dante. He's part of a world I was in before I met you. I thought I left it behind, but he found me. He came here, to us. Dante's eyes widened. He came here. Alone? Yes, she whispered. And I can't. I can't handle this anymore by myself. I had to tell you. Dante's jaw tightened, his hand gripping hers firmly. You should have told me sooner, he said, voice steady but intense. But, thank you for telling me now. We'll face him together. Her heart swelled with love and fear. You're not angry, she asked hesitantly. Angry? Dante repeated, shaking his head. Yes, at him. At what he's put you through. But not at you. I love you, Elena. That doesn't change. Her tears fell freely now, and Dante pulled her close, holding her until the tremors in her body slowed. Meanwhile, somewhere across town, Rico watched the cabin from a distance, his expression unreadable. He typed a new message into his phone, she's talking to him. Soon, everything will change. Elena didn't know that the storm wasn't just approaching. It had already arrived. And nothing would ever be the same.